Okay, so chapter 9 review. First things first, here's the equation for cellular respiration. C6H12O6, which is glucose, plus 6 breathable oxygens. That reaction will make you have water and 6 carbon dioxides. There are 3 steps to cellular respiration. The first step is glycolysis. Glycolysis is breaking down glucose into pyruvic acid. Okay? Then the next step is the Krebs cycle, which is further breaking down of the pyruvic acid to get more electrons to energize the electron transport chain. The electron transport chain is responsible for activating ATP synthase to make ATP. So we're going to go through this. So here we have our mitochondria. This is the outside of the mitochondria where you find the cytoplasm. This is the outer membrane. This is the inner membrane space. This is the inner membrane. This is the electron transport chain. This area here is inside the mitochondria, deep inside of it, called the matrix, which is the fluid. So first thing we start with is glycolysis. Glycolysis is breaking down glucose, which is a 6-carbon molecule, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It breaks it down to pyruvic acid. It requires 2 ATP to break this down. Once it's broken down, these electron carriers, NAD and FAD, NAD and FAD, steal the electrons. They steal those electrons to put them in the electron transport chain. Don't forget that we break down glucose so that it's able to fit inside the mitochondria. So it enters into the mitochondria as pyruvic acid. In the presence of oxygen, O2 will come, it will steal a carbon, making carbon dioxide, and send it outside the cell. From there, the enzyme, acetyl-CoA enzyme, binds to the 2-carbon molecule, forming acetyl-CoA. From there, a 4-carbon molecule comes and it binds to the acetyl-CoA, forming citric acid. From there, 2 more breathable oxygens come in, steal the 2 carbons away. When you break something down, energy is released. Then NAD and FAD steal more electrons from this breakdown. Carbon dioxide gets more released. Then from there, we start the electron transport chain. Complex 1, complex 2, complex 3, complex 4, ATP synthase. So the electrons that were trapped in complex 1, send them to complex 2. From complex 2 to complex 3. From complex 3 to complex 4. Here, complex 4 binds hydrogen to oxygen, making water. The purpose of these complexes is not only to send the electrons down, but to keep pumping hydrogen ions on the inside to create a concentration gradient. We want a positive in the inner membrane space and negative along the electron transport chain. From here, hydrogens want to bind to the electrons, but it can't, so it pumps through the ATP synthase, causing it to spin, binding adenosine diphosphate to a phosphate, creating ATP. So, 34 are made due to the electron chain and the Krebs cycle. Only 2 are gained from glycolysis, so we get a net of 36 ATP. So up here, glycolysis breaks down glucose into pyruvic acid. It takes 2, but we get 4 back. Then the Krebs cycle breaks down pyruvic acid to make it acetyl-CoA, then to citric acid. Then that citric acid gets broken down. Then we start the electron transport chain. From there, this energizes to make 34 ATP. So we get a net of 36 ATP. That's it.